there. So if you're getting rid of them yourself, what are you going to do with the rest of that? I mean, that's going to be an interesting bot lane matchup now. It's going to be that Tristana, very, very popular here in the LPL in the first couple of matches. Just me snapped up, but it is at the cost of JackeyLove Senna.
I almost want them to lock in the Maokai there for Tian, just because, you know, you've abandoned the Ivan, they've locked in the Tristana. I feel like this is very much a Maokai angle here for RA. But then I suppose there are so many AP junglers right now that, realistically, there's other stuff you could lock alongside the Tristana. Skarner, open and available. We've seen the terrifying things this pick can do up in the top side. It's pretty much just power picks across the board.
About to say, this is kind of S tier for most of the picks locked in. I think you could argue about the way it's not necessarily up there as top tier, but for Creme, big comfort.
Yeah.
Creme's gone from being the assassin melee only player to we've made a mage out of him, to the tune of many famous songs in that movie too. AP farming junglers though, with the AD mid laner, we've seen different flavors of them. We've seen the Maokai, we've seen the Karthus, we've seen the Lilia here too. We did see a Lilia yesterday as well. Xiaohao kept himself something that can do a bit of damage.
Meiko, the best on this team. Meiko will lock that one in once again. We saw some pretty good on games from him over the last few months. And it will be locked in. I'm assuming that goes to Meiko.
You can't say that about.
No, I was joking. We have seen one on top game already this split, so it's possible the 369 does take that tank up to the top side as well. He's up against a Skarner, so you can kind of just deal with the farm up there and scale exceptionally well, so it could be an option as well.
Thing is, I feel like top esports could have locked in the Nautilus on 3 as well, which removes a lot of the last remaining bot lanes, which are pretty strong in the 2v2. Then banning away the Ziggs, which is good for stuff like the Ziggs Leona and big combos like that. Question really is, what are they afraid of left in this bot side? And they say, okay, assume big Kai'Sa player, remove that, even though it's kind of less meta pick right now. There's not much left, so go right down to the dregs for the bot lane champion pool for Rare Atom.
There are theoretically 7 AD carry bans here. If you include technically the TF could have gone into that AD carry role. Like that,
on a blue moon, yes.
Yeah, that and the Ziggs as well. Like typically that's a bot laner these days, especially with the Tristana locked in already. You expect that to go to the bot lane. A lot of bans. Soon we'll see what he ends up going for in the end. As Tian, aggressive as ever from the jungle, sits out locked in.
That's a bit of a self-counter pick into Lilia though. Lilia loves playing a lot of the time. I feel like might struggle against some of these other champions. You know, one can W3 the sleep from Lilia time that night. So there, boys. Never mind that. Jungle matchup aside, we have a Cogmore locked in for Assum. Now, top esports are intimately familiar with Cogmore after being knocked out by G2's Cogmore at MSI. So thank you, Hansana, for that one. We really appreciate that here at the LPL. And apparently Rare Atom do. I'm a slightly less sarcastic on that one too. Are we going for a brawl? Are we going for a heavy engage? Or does feel like you need just a little bit more engage here for Rare Atom. Be nice to have an extra frontline sitting in front of Cogmore too.
Yeah, and at Top Esports, you mentioned obviously their recent history with Cogmore. JackeyLove also famously saying in an interview that he likes Cogmore because when you die, you still get to put damage out, and you know he always wants to maximize the damage you get out of the passive. Like I'm one of the best interviews ever, I think. Yeah, he knows how to die on Cogmore, that is for sure. We'll see if he knows how to kill Cogmore during this laning phase. 369 goes for a Mordekaiser up the top side.
Alrighty, so Mordekaiser. I'm interested in what the full item build is going to be here. You assume it's going to be Leandries and the Riftmaker. One of those two kind of locked in, maybe even the duo amongst them. But I'm very interested to see if Mordekaiser can beat Skarner in the 1v1, how that changes how Rare Atom can approach their team fights. We have seen Skarner be just absolutely obnoxious as a frontline champion. Now, with the Ornn being able to delay some of the engagement, the Mordekaiser being able to take out one of the key pieces of the team as well from Rare Atom, the team fights are going to be very differently structured with this very last pick locked in.
You know, you can't cleanse it, you can't QSS it.
True.
Assum is on Cogmore. And there's a Mordekaiser. I don't think Assum is going to enjoy these team fights. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a rocket belt flash all angle every single fight onto Assum here. 369 Let's see what he can pull off with the pick. I mean, there were so many AD carry bans. The Cogball comes through and you're up against the Mordekaiser. I don't want to be in Assum's shoes. Like, that's terrible.
I have to say, of the champions which can shred through tanks very quickly and, you know, 1-2 items, Cogball is one of them. We'll see, based on item build and then, of course, the positioning in teamfights as well, what options 369 will have on the Mordekaiser. It's not a pick that we've seen a huge amount of for a while. It was absolutely huge a couple of years ago, of course. It's, of course, 369 was playing very much strong stuff during that era. If he could be a good anti-tank champion and then also be a threat on the AD carry, this Mordekaiser might have just cracked the code of this teamfight.
Let's see if he's cracked that code. We're heading into our second series of the day. It's RA versus Top Esports. Going straight into the action. Mid lane is already trading Vicla, and Creme just sparring there. Vicla gets a ward at level 1, so we'll hit level 2 off of that first wave. Does make it slightly more difficult for Creme.
Are we going to get lane swap shenanigans? We have a teleport in Jwei, by the way, and he doesn't have spellbook. This is just a teleport support without necessarily going for any kind of weird tech with that one. It's not like it's a center support either, AD carry for the side of Assum, so he just has that extra global. That can help you out in some different cases in lane swaps, but interested to see how Assum can use that now, because this is an atypical pure support summoner to lock in.
Yeah, I guess just wanting to match Meiko, right? Wanting to be able to respond to the TP plays potentially coming out from Meiko. Whether or not that actually comes to fruition, we'll have to find out. No exhaust, you know, no ignite for lane pressure. There will be no lane swap in the end. Meiko engaged upon. Assum pops that W and just starts wailing away. Meiko feeling the brunt of that trade.
JackeyLove, though, one of the things I love about JackeyLove's center is how he just finds really cheeky ways to get that second tap of the center passive to get the extra bit of that soul stacking up in this early game. Gets some speed from that first level trade there, just by getting the double tap onto both. But they do lose control of the wave, which means that Assum and Jwei will be able to allow Xiaohao free access into the bot side of the room, particularly with Tristana helping with that too.
Already another trade to the bottom side. JackeyLove's getting incredibly low. Assum not going to flash for it, not going to try and overforce things, but level 2 hit. JackeyLove very low on HP. Xiaohao moving towards this bottom side as well. We're setting up for a dive angle here, Nymeara.
Here it comes, and Tian will be here in about, what, 15 seconds odd. It doesn't have that much move speed, of course, from Hope Boots. He needs to get here quick, though. How much time can they buy?
The wave about to crash. 2 more minions to go. Assum pushes that one in, and they call it off. Xiaohao, can he use the presence to go for an invade instead? Jwei alongside him, Tian in the area. Both smites available here. This could just be a 50-50. Tian trying to move in. I think realizing that he would just get jumped on. But that means Xiaohao could save his smite, potentially contest the Gromp as well. Okay, he's just going to back.
He's completely happy with that. It means that maybe he can even go towards a double scuffle. We'll see exactly what happens with that. Meiko being able to recall teleport back in full HP might actually be useful for that one. Same with Jwei on the other side. We're going to get ourselves an early recall for a longsword for Assum as well. So back into lane to help keep up that push as long as possible. It's going to be Tian at least being able to secure that bot side scuffle, though, with the resets all said and done. Xiaohao walks away with a camp steal, which is fine by him. Again, it is a farming AP jungler. Camps can be an objective in their own right. That is an important thing to get.
Yeah, moving into the mid lane. The hook slightly wide. The hook, the claw, the grab, the squeeze.
Words are hard
I'm not really sure what word to use for that one. It's a weird ability. Meiko looking for Assum at the bottom side. The charge won't find the knock up onto Assum. It will onto Jwei, but he just dives underneath that turret. And RA get away with it.
That's a cheap double summoner take from Assum, though. Weird awkward position. Not really sure what the plan was with Jwei hanging out in the brush. Now Tian is caught out in enemy jungle, though.
Gets the chicken. Vicla jumping forwards a second time. Creme gets a fear and gets his jungler out of dodge. But that's a flash from Tian.
So, JackeyLove and Meiko got something back in the spot side. That's important for them, particularly since the first phase of lane felt like Assum and Jwei got a good amount of value for that, though. However, Cogball without summoners feels really bad. It's a big win for them. Tian losing the flash, of course, a negative on the other side too. Tian on this since is going to struggle if he matches up directly against the Lilia. It does feel like Lilia is very strong into that pick in general. So we'll have to see which of these summoners being blown is more important.
I will say, just worth mentioning, Meiko is ahead of Assum in CS so far in this lane on the Ornn support. Meiko, one of the better farmers out of our supports, and showing that in this game so far, finding himself an individual lead against the enemy AD carry. You don't see it too often. We are seeing it here to start us off, and now JackeyLove gets to hit onto this tower. The bot lane that started so well for RA feels like it's starting to go a bit pear-shaped.
Yeah, and now JackeyLove just starting to stack up extra souls, almost at his first range increment as well. From the center 2 on 19 right now has done well, as we said, to just get those double taps where possible. Himself onto the tower 2, the extra gold absolutely not going amiss. So Rare Adam, what's the plan? I feel like, yes, the Cogmore scales well, it will kill the front line pretty effectively, but you need to be able to position yourself well to do so. It's not going to be a free game for a Cogmore to just rail on the Ornn or the Mordekaiser. I think anything but that. What's their next approach to stop top esports from getting into a point where they can force fights before you get that Cogmore online?
I suppose that is the question. Grub spawning onto the map as Tian is on the top side, does spot away the pink ward, but Xiaohao going to start these grubs off. Tian can't quite get in as Assum gets absolutely destroyed in a 1v1 by Meiko. Let's get a bit of return damage down, but it's not really enough, is it? Meiko does have TP. Tian managed to move in, deny that grub from Xiaohao, but now JackeyLove stepped too far forward. That's both of his summoners. Jwei could be the answer. As Meiko got a solo kill in the bottom side of the map, and now Jwei's going to go down as well. Taken out of the picture. Vicla trying to get damage onto JackeyLove, trying to turn this fight. It's a 3v4, and Tian is still surviving. Finally goes down to Xiaoxu. Pulls in 369, but he's forced to flash, and 369's not letting him go anywhere. This fight was all top esports.
And honestly, that fight was all 369 in terms of the damage. That Mordekaiser absolutely bonked Rare Adam. Feels like Rare Adam have already found themselves to have a short half-life in this game. That is a bad, bad loss to be giving up gold on top side too against top esports themselves. At least it was a 1-for-1 in bot side. Assum, I think, got the kill either with a tower shot or the passive. Either way, maybe we'll get a replay of that one. But it's still, overall, top esports accelerating the game in exactly the way they wanted to. Is this a solo kill? It's the solo kill.
He just flashes for the knock-up button in tower. Oh, you absolutely love to see it. I mean, he's denying CS by doing that, right? The wave is crashing underneath the tower, so I don't hate it. He had TP.
I don't love giving gold to Cogmore. I appreciate the entertainment value. But in the fight around the Herald, we just see 369, whack Rel, get the passive, they're taking on to multiple people in the fight. There's multi-person queues across here as well. Flashes for a final kill after that point. 369 gets himself into a huge, huge situation here. Walks away 2-0-1, very closely towards his first side of the game.
I feel like that's one of those fights as well where he gets a lot more value than you can obviously see, because he's got that would-be equalizer underneath everyone for a long time. There's a big group up fight. Like, he does a deceptive amount of damage. It's not necessarily as obvious as some other champions, but you really can whittle away at people. Fantastic start here from top esports.
Sometimes the skill of an artist is in subtlety. I'm glad that they didn't make... could you imagine playing like a modern art skin where everything is really abstract and it's like... And this is a soup
like pop art.
Half opened. Yeah.
Well, technically, a half-open soup can would be post-modern art, my friend.
Are you serious? I have no idea.
Yeah,
we'll never know.
We're into the realms of like post-modern art at this point, I think. But yeah, some of the LPL games we've seen in our first 2 days definitely could be described as modern art, with some pretty wacky stuff going on yesterday. We've had relatively straightforward games so far today.
Yeah, the LPL only described as evocative and thought-provoking. Definitely not bad for your
We're like banana taped to a wall with that kind of art. Yeah, it's we've had some games. We've definitely had some games of League of Legends. Top esports, though, bringing some serious gameplay here. 2,000 gold up at 9 minutes. They're getting a Drake for themselves. They got 2 of those first 3 grubs as well. And in fact, that third grub's still there in the pit.
It is, which means that the second respawn won't come through. I guess top esports wanting to kind of abandon the last take of that to kill time towards bot side to get the neutral objective, stacking into the dragons. That works out fine for them.
Yeah.
I think
against Tristana as well. Like, if the groups just don't be a part of the game, that's kind of okay.
You have read my mind. Exactly the next thing I was going to say, which is, yeah, I mean, deny it from Tristana. If you're delaying the second spawn because the third one doesn't fall, it means you're stopping any kind of chance of Rare Atom getting good demolition value out of Vicla through grubs alone in that sense, which I think Top Esports is very happy with.
And on top of all of that, like, Top Esports, look at Tian CS. He's ahead of Xiaohao in CS. That's a Lilia. Lilia is meant to be the farming jungler. That's kind of what she does.
She went into enemy jungle early on and stole camps as well. He's recovered that.
Yeah, managing to get himself ahead. Creme's ahead in CS. Meiko's still actually ahead in CS over Assum down in the bottom side. It's all looking pretty hunky-dory for Top Esports. I mean, look. We were expecting things to look good for Top Esports coming in. Like, this is a very one-sided matchup on paper. The question for me is, like, what do RRA look like throughout the rest of this game and series? What do they do to bring it to Top Esports?
I mean, I'm wondering how this Cogwall will get online and how quickly that can happen. I think with a lot of gold onto 369, and as you said, Meiko, like farming like an AD carry actually on the Ornn. That's going to be a bit problematic because his primary targets are ahead of the game and as compared to where he is right now. You know, there was actually a point where there was, due to a bug when Ornn was on release, you could actually get double Blade of the Ruin King activated on him and he could kind of be an AD carry. That was a terrible time to figure out that when you're laning against him, by the way.
Yeah.
Meiko, reliving a little bit of that heyday of weirdly AD carry Ornn.
I guess so. He's doing alright so far as 369 pulls Xiaoxu into the death realm and he looks for the 1v1. The rest of the gang is there when they come out, but can he finish off the kill first? Stunned up, locked up, put to sleep. The shield does naught. And RA find their pick onto 369.
Oh, that started so well for 369. I think he ended up cancelling out the CC with his own ultimate going into the Death Realm. At the same time, very nearly walks away with that kill, but sadly didn't have the flash to follow up. I think maybe he could have just backed off and been safe, so an overestimation. Very, very close to getting a kill in 1v3 all the same.
Nice try, but not quite enough to find it. In the meantime, though, Top Esports are taking place everywhere on the map. Creme just sort of survives as Vicla maybe went a little too deep.
You know, last split in spring, Vicla was really, really key to Rare Atom's wins on the Tristana late into the split. I remember the last couple of their series in spring, his Tristana was absolutely monstrous, but just can't quite get those same openings here against Creme, who's come into a realm of his own, at least within the LPL. I think MSI had some up and down games, but still, his caliber within the region. Against something like Vicla, just on display that. We're going to get, actually, just after the ability for the second grubs to spawn has gone through, you can see that Top Esports do finally finish off that first set through 369 as well. So no second grub spawn here, straight onto Herald in that next minute.
And I think, you know, Creme, domestically, having some pretty great performances over the course of this year. Like, yeah, he wasn't the best mid laner in the world when it came to going up against Trophy, but like, that's Trophy, man. Like,
yeah, it's not really
when you go to MSI and you have to play against the very best in the world, I'm not saying that it's okay that, like, Creme is going to have to improve over time, but he's still a very young player. He's still very near the start of his career. And I think the fact that he's second place in the LPL, the fact that he did so much on that OMG roster, I think we can allow him his first international not being the absolute best tournament you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, plenty of players in the career beyond that point. Top Esports, of course, this roster. A bit of a damage check. No, definitely. A lot of rosters will try and put against singular rookies they think they can build up and then put veterans around them. Top Esports is a massive example of that. Creme, you know, he's not a straight rookie. He has been around for a few years, but I guess in the LPL scheme of things and his, you know, his age as well, he's the player surrounded by some of the most tenured and successful players in their roles worldwide. You have so many international champions on the roster around him. Top Esports would love to grow into something truly, truly formidable beyond this point as well. Rare Atom on the other side of it. That's why, in a lot of ways, we have to phrase conversations like this. Like, it is an uphill battle. The level of the names is very, very high. They're not going to be here in time to contest around that Herald. There'll be another neutral objective. That's a teleport from Xiaoxu.
Certainly is. Herald taken, and Meiko gonna drop the Orn Horn to try and protect Creme, and he does fight the knock-up long range.
Oh!
It's not gonna stop Xiaoxu, pulling them in the pincers. Grab Creme by the head and pull him back. Now Herald into the mid lane. Instead, it's gonna be a trade of towers top in for the mid lane.
That is really disgusting how far they can find that engage range. The little pop back of the Skarner ult as well, you're gonna get used to that. That thing is so nasty. If you get caught on the edge of the hitbox, you can kind of get just dragged back even further than you expect into Skarner's claws. And Creme, despite the fact that he thought like he was out safe, couldn't quite get to complete safe haven all the same. We're have to at least walk away with a kill there.
Yeah, they unfortunately don't get the tower on the top side. That's going to be a TP coming out from Creme to finish this minion wave off. Oh, and he even stops Vicla's recall as well. So even though it's RA making a pick, they lose the tower in the mid lane. They get another Herald charge for top esports in their mid lane tier 2. They protect the tier 1 on the top side. I think overall, in terms of gold, it's probably a positive trade for top esports.
Rare Adam just hate dairy. They just don't want cream.
Bro,
they just
same.
they take their they take their coffee Americano, I guess, or something like that. None of that dairy business involved. They really wanted to force down there, but they can't quite end up mixing the two. I don't know. I'm forcing it a little too hard there, folks. I actually really like lattes. I am a cream, well, not a cream enjoyer. I'm a dairy enjoyer. In this case, he gets himself back. Wave towards top side, even though there was a big investment from Rare Atom.
Certainly was. Yeah, I'm a latte enjoyer myself. Do love a bit of cheeky little bit of oat milk every now and then. You know how it be. TP comes out on the top side. Jwei getting a bit of value. The support TP will protect the tower for that one wave. Will he now die for the trouble is the question. JackeyLove pulling the wave in towards the tri-brush so that the top esports minion wave arrives a little sooner. Xiaohao is here as well, but I don't think even with 3 you can survive this one. Root lands after the flash. As Creme in a 1v1, Vicla just tried to force things, but Creme, I'm pretty sure he just wins that 1v1 anyway, to be honest, even without everything else. And that's going to be the tower going down.
Great separation from top esports. Forces Rare Atom in a kind of a multi-part play to leave one of their members out to dry. Just so happens to be Vicla in this case. Jwei loses his flash and he can't teleport his teammate out of danger in that one. Sadly, the summon as well doesn't work like that. Well, the same Creme, he gets himself, after a moment of kind of having pressure put onto him, gets himself into a very good position in that top side of the map, gets himself a lot of resources in that phase of play. He's now 1,000 gold up. Tristana, not famously a champion that does well from behind, wants to be ahead of the game. And the fact that you're down 1,000 gold individually, you said this in that last play, Creme probably already won that play individually in a 1v1. Now it will even happen to an even greater degree with the extra gold.
Good stuff by top esports, and I mean, it's nice to see them come back from MSI. Quite often, fresh off an international tournament, we do see teams sort of slouch on their way in, and you know, realistically playing a similar composition to what they were playing at the international tournament. But I like that we're still seeing a bit of flexibility there. The Mordekaiser coming out for 369. They clearly haven't taken a massive break or anything like that. They're somewhat in tune with this patch.
369. Already going towards finishing breakup in these team compositions. Isn't here right now. It has to teleport into the play. It does have Leandri's Rylai's, which is a disgusting combo for Mordekaiser. Has been for most of his reworked existence. Of course, man, do you remember old Root Mordekaiser? That was, well, I'd have to specify which kind, I suppose. Yeah, the Dragon Pet was front and center. Right? That was the weird 80 carry Mordekaiser thing in Season 5.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that. I was never a fan of that one.
I have to say, most people weren't. That's why it was swiftly changed. All the same, with this the Leandri's Rylai's, if you ever get on top of a target, you get them in the ult. You just don't get to get away from you at this point. You don't have enough movement speed built up because you're slow too much. And I think at this point, yeah, 369 can take whoever he wants into the left arm, and he'll probably deal with them handily. Yeah.
I've got to say, I'm a true OG Mordekaiser enjoyer, you know, when the ult was just kind of the dot that you'd put on, your E was a little sort of AoE in front here and that, like that. Yeah. Those were the days. That was the you had like that little spinny thing that you could put on a minion. I mean, I'm not saying the kit was good.
The scrap shieldy thing.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. I was a big enjoyer of that. Top esports gonna finish off this tower in the bottom side. Xiaoxu gonna get an ult onto Tian, but I don't think he's getting out of this one alive. And my goodness, top esports not feeling merciful today, it seems. RA coming in, the underdog in the group, and Top Esports make them know that they're the underdog.
And now you have Coldmore with no flash, so next time it comes through to Xiaohao.
Oh, good lord! They're just destroyed! Jwei even walks near and he loses his life for it. I mean, Top Esports, they're merciless.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Lily is meant to be like the dream deer of some kind. You don't have to put them to sleep like that. That's just cruel. You can't show that one on the broadcast. That was unceremonious to say the least. What came from one pick and some Summoner's Blow leads into a full kill and inhibitor, I suppose. It's only just ticked on to 20 minutes. Feels like the pace of games today has been pretty high. Well, we had the one late game, which we had in the first series, but feels like a lot of our games have been really nasty on that level. And 9 just wanting to flex the muscles a little bit around the corner.
With a scorpion, a deer, and a weird void dog, it does feel a little bit like we're in the back room of a vet. As you say, put to sleep. Look, the surgery would have been too expensive, so we're just gonna nip it in the bud, lads. Yeah, I mean, this is just brutal. Good ult coming out from Xiaohao. Hits all. It's 3 of them, but
it needed to be.
Look, Jwei just happens to walk near. Creme chunks the crap out of him.
And this is the problem now. You're behind way too much gold at this point in the game. The second items are rolling through from Top Esports on a really good timestamp there. They're ahead 9,000 gold at 21 minutes. That is absolutely absurd at this point. I feel like we've had games, even earlier today, where the gold is not indicative of the power in the game. When it is this large, this early into the game, of course it is. And when you've got, JackeyLove on 80 souls at 21 minutes, still on a decent stacking time for that too. This is an okay timer for that as well. Soul Point on an Infernal Rift for Top Esports. Everything has gone their way. And Rare Atom, I suppose they were banking on eventually having, Vicla pass the baton over in mid-game to Assum on the Cogmore, so both of them could deal with the tank frontline. It's just realistically been derailed before it's even left the station.
And one thing I will say, it's really good to see this, clean macro coming out from Top Esports when his... Oh, Meiko! Just backing away with his life. I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect quite that much damage to come on through, and it looks like RA really want to capitalize. Creme, nice sidestep on the swirl seat. Top Esports get away with it. But yeah, Top Esports of the past, in a matchup like this, they've been known to have some happy games. They've been known to get some extra enjoyment out of a matchup like this. It does feel like they're taking this seriously. They want a great score. They want to go into the Rumble stage strong. Jwei gets out with his life. JackeyLove forced to flash. He's already used his cleanse, though. This is a huge thing. And suddenly, Top Esports, maybe they are happy gaming after all. Creme forced away and actually survives this one. And it's Vicla in trouble instead. But there we go. Assum finds his ultimate. 369 forced away. Still can't come through. Xiaoxu in a 1v1 here, but will finish the job. Assum with another one. And that's Baron for RA.
We were just having this whole talk about, wow, incredible gold lead, objectives, everything going their way, and Top Esports somehow find a way, traveling through the wall as well. Meiko, he switched over to a Spellbook Spike to try and get himself to the point where he could stop Baron going over. He has delayed it at the cost of his flash, but that does not spare the blushes of Top Esports completely throwing away their solid point in this game. It's still a huge amount of gold, but that is such a worrying sign. Huge amounts of gold going over the side. And Assum after this. The big part of this is the fact that Ornn has been chunked out so heavily and is not back in time for Top Esports looking for engage. They commit to a 4v5. In fact, it's even a 3v5. You don't even have 369 there. Huge judgment error for Top Esports, engaging without two of their big members in these fights.
I mean, it does feel very Top Esports, doesn't it? Just as we're talking about how seriously they're taking this one, they immediately start a 3v5, all die, and almost give away Baron. Meiko, luckily, like you say, Spellbook Smite, enough of a threat to force RA to contest him. He gets away with his life and stops the Baron from happening. Top Esports still very much in control. It's still a 7,000-8,000 gold lead despite that massive play. You can have a near ace at 24 minutes in the game and still be 8,000 gold ahead. It really says a lot about the state of this game.
There have been a lot of tools added into the game of League of Legends to make sure you can have some comeback possibility. Barons was started up, Top Esports taking down low. What are we looking for here?
Jwei trying to get in. Xiaohao's in the pit, but is smited by Meiko in the end. Knockups galore. Top Esports kiting back. It's going to be Xiaoxu on the backline trying to finish things off. Assum gets one, but that's all he'll find. And Xiaoxu can't do the same. The Scorpion taken out of the picture. And it's Top Esports with 16 kills on the board and TPing into the enemy base.
All right, just a blip on the radar. This should realistically be the death push now from Top Esports. See, they went towards a bit of a flip on the Baron. It felt like actually Rare Atom had a chance to get into the pit, but they still managed to secure it. They still managed to get the fight afterwards in a way which they couldn't in the, you know, the 3v5 before that point. Turns out when actually everyone's there, it's not an even fight at all. Go back into the replay of that. As you said, it gets a little bit dicey because Xiaohao actually manages to get some CC in the middle of this. He gets in range just about for a potential Spider's Meiko. With the Silver Spider capture and playing that all the same. Definitely helps having those two doubled up all the same. Top Esports walk away with the fight and the back.
Yeah, you called it that Assum could win the 1v1 against the Mordekaiser in the Death Realm, but then Assum dies to the Leandries after he comes out of the Death Realm. So we'll call that a 1-for-1. We'll call that a tie between 369 and Assum on that one. I will say, this Cogmore, 5 kills at this point. He's actually ahead of gold on JackeyLove. Maybe Top Esports do go for any more silly fights like earlier on. Could be an angle for Assum to carry. Certainly getting to that late game Cogmore stage, but I mean, this is an Infernal Soul just taken with very little contest, and now Meiko potentially looking for a 5-on-2. Knockups come through, 369 into the play, but it's a 3-man grab from Xiaoxu, and the rest of the team chased down for the Spiraling Despair, annihilates them. Assum gets a bonus onto JackeyLove on the top side of the play, but the fight is already lost. Vicla doing his damnedest, but it's just not enough.
I thought Assum might be able to just free hit his way through to another Miracle team fight, but again, it's too many members of Top Esports. They claim themselves the Infernal Soul midway through the fight as well, which helps them in terms of the damage profile, and now it is just one little Void Puppy alone here in the base against the full array teeth of Top Esports.
Oh, Assum maybe gets Meiko here. Tian threatens him. Assum, good movement here, but there's only so much you can do. 369 bonks him and sends him back to base. That's 2 inhibs, resets for Top Esports. Honestly, domination here, but it's still really fun to watch somehow.
Yeah, it is. The team fight, maybe, again, the team fight setup for Top Esports a bit fast and loose in some cases. You should never really be letting a Fed Cogmore, and given the amount of kills he's got, very much classifies as that, despite the gold lead overall. It's a team fight like this. He gets himself in the pocket. People are stood in front of him, keeping enemies away from him. He can fight over a wall and get himself into a really good position. He's firing onto a lot of the front line here, but he manages to get onto JackeyLove, get right at that, into the back line as well, somehow, some way. If this front line was just a little more durable, if Vicla was doing a little bit more damage in his own right as well, this would be the kind of team fight a Cogmore could very much run away with. I guess that's just tribute to how far ahead Top Esports are still.
Tough one for Assum. I mean, a valiant effort, like you say, but there's only so much you can do. Yeah, we've managed to 1v1 JackeyLove. He's, you know, bit of style points there. He'll be happy with that one. That's something he can tell his grandkids about. I 1v1 JackeyLove on the LPL stage. You know, get that printed on a t-shirt. I'd wear that t-shirt. It wouldn't be true, but I'd wear it.
The best I've got is I killed Lumao in an ARAM once. He was on the US. That's the best I've got. So you know, he's doing better than me right now.
Mate, get that on a t-shirt right now. That's all I'm saying. 2 inhibs taken on the bottom side of the map as Top Esports continue this siege. 3 inhibs will be taken. Vicla just about gets out with his life. 369 trying his damnedest as Jwei forces an engage. And Assum taking it to the Death Realm. Can he survive 369? The Q goes wide for 369. It doesn't matter, the passive kills it by itself. And that is pretty much a wipe. Fantastic stuff coming out from Top Esports. A pretty one-sided affair, but hey, we got more than 1 kill per minute. That is the kind of entrance into the LPL that you want to see.
Yeah, that's our modern art LPL, the banana taped to a fridge of points there for Top Esports, where they realistically should have closed that game a little sooner and without a bit of the heart attack in that enemy blue side jungle. But they got themselves into a position where it didn't matter. That's a victory in its own right, and it feels like
Top East will still walk away again, proving just how high caliber of a team they are. Every lane really outperformed in its own right there, it felt like, and particularly 369 on that Mordekaiser, showing a different pick, which is very useful now in this new format of Fearless Draft. He didn't use up a super power pick. It's a Mordekaiser, which is very valuable now for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the Mordekaiser. Look, 369 is not going to have his Mordekaiser to go for in the next game now with the Fearless Draft. What a nightmare. Yeah, fantastic stuff coming out from Top Esports. We'll wrap that one up. Let's see what happens in game number 2 after the break.